Right, hello. It's nice to see people join me, which is good. Always good. My name is Paul Clark, and I teach at Guildford College, so that way, 40 miles south. So up on the screen, I'll start with, this is my art name, Paul Kercal, because obviously I'm a complete idiot, and I picked a pen name that nobody can spell and nobody can say, because I'm a Berg. But I can draw, at least, so there's one good thing about it. To the right is Stylus Frog. Now, I didn't bring him today because he's quite shy, and I forgot. Stylus Frog goes with me to most events that I do and into the classroom. And all he is a little stuffed frog, and I stick my Styli in there. The reason why I do that is because when I finish a project with the kids, they come back, they put the Styli in the frog. It's a silly, simple thing, but if you don't do it, at the end of a class, you're looking around for Styli all the time. And it's little tricks like that over the past 2 years that I've come over to share. So that's the first thing. On the left-hand side, the picture was drawn with Adobe Touch, Photoshop Touch, on a Samsung tablet. On the right-hand side, it was painted with ArtRage on an iPad 2. All of the slides in this presentation were created on a tablet, mostly on iPad. Now I'm going to divide this show into 3 lots of 5 things that are dead useful. There are a lot of Styli out there. I have bought most of them. But there are only a few that are really good for teaching. Some are good for painting and using, but not all are good for teaching. The same with apps, the same with objects. So everything is divided into 5. So this is where I work, Guildford College, and this is the back entrance of Guildford College. It started out as a school of art. And this door is very rarely used because we've got a more grand front door. But this is my favourite door because Henry Moore walked through this door. Elizabeth Frink walked through this door. Thousands of art students, some of you've heard of, some that you haven't heard of, have gone through that door. And I love that. That inspires me. My room is below that room. Now this was photographed with an app called You Gotta See This, which is by a German company called Boinx, and they're more well known for the animation program Stop Motion. The reason why I like this app is you stand there, you look like a twit because you wave your camera around, and then you get a odd Hockney-esque picture that renders almost immediately. The other reason why I like this app is because sometimes it breaks and you get a photo that you really were not expecting. The geometry distorts, the picture distorts, and I like that as well. Sometimes the mistakes are as valuable as the things that you plan to do. Obviously you don't think that at the time, you think, oh, why didn't it work? But the mistakes I like to see what I'm going to get. Now I'd like to talk about screens because we have moved into a tablet equals iPad economy, and that is incorrect. There are a number of companies around BETT today who are making tablets, and Apple is not one of them. There's Apple solution stores around the place, but Apple's not here. Now I drew this on a bus, it's a bit shaky, on a 3DS using Art Academy. Art Academy is a fabulous art program, and I love it to pieces. They've just moved into releasing weekly classes and lessons that children can download and do and learn from. So Art Academy, if I were to say to you what is the best tablet for your school, the 3DS might be the right answer. It's a clamshell, the screens are protected, you can do 3D filming up to 10 minutes. There's a lot that 3DS will give you, there's a lot that Art Academy will give you. The iPad is not the only answer. Similarly on this, I've got a Lenovo Yoga, which I'm really keen to use. I've recently been sent one to use, and I'm really looking forward to giving that a good workout. The Microsoft Surface, I've been using that for the past 2 weeks. An iPod Touch, and an interactive whiteboard. Now an interactive whiteboard is fabulous, and we don't use it in the classroom to draw on as much as I would like to see. If I YouTube screen art with an interactive whiteboard, I get very few hits. Whereas a kid with a canvas that big and a touch stylus or a finger will get really good results. Now on an interactive whiteboard, I always use Photoshop and I always use ArtRage. They're the apps that make me happiest on there. Later on I'll show you a video of me drawing on an interactive whiteboard, because it's something that I feel a lot of joy when I'm doing, and I think kids, again, get that. So that's this one. Now we're going to go into the questions. When I'm doing iPad artwork or tablet artwork, I am asked 3 questions always. One is, which is the best app? It's going to be demonstrated by my young assistant here. No, which is the best app? Oh, sorry, which is the best stylus? Which is the best app? Which is the best add-on? What do you need to do what you're doing? So, first off, Styli. So I've got Stylus Sock and the styler that I would use. And I drew this picture for Adobe in June of last year. Since then I've got 2 more rows of Styli, I just haven't had a chance to draw them yet. But these are the ones that I owned as of June last year. These are the ones that I would suggest for education. Now these pictures, the one last and this, were drawn in Adobe Ideas, which is a very nice app. It's not a vector art application, but it feels like a vector art application. It softens your lines, it gives you very beautiful, thick, vector-like lines and artwork, and you can output it as a PDF, so you can go up to any size that you wish. And I like Ideas a lot, I use that a lot when I'm creating artwork. I'm going to go through the 5 sets of styli, and then I'll explain why they're useful for education. The top left is a stylus called Stylus Sock, and you buy it on Etsy. You can't buy it in shops. It's a little guy, a craft guy, on Etsy. His name is Ivo Beckers, he's in the Netherlands, and you can buy 2 styli for £8. Bargain. You might think it's a lot actually, but I haven't got to the ones that cost a lot more than £8. These are great. I've got 2 of each. 2 Stylus Socks, the big ones, 2 Stylus Socks, the little ones, and I've had them for 3 years and they are still working. They look a little frayed around the edges. I've put a lot of mileage onto these styli. They last a long time. In education, that's very valuable. So the Stylus Socks are great styli for use in education. The Cosmonaut, top right. Cosmonaut was a Kickstarter campaign about 18 months ago. It is a very thick lump of plastic. It's like a whiteboard marker. It feels wonderful in your hand. And for smaller kids, it's one that they gravitate towards a lot, because it feels like a thick, heavy crayon. So for the younger kids, I'd suggest a Cosmonaut. Also, it's very durable as well. On the bottom left, that one, the Pogo Sketch Pro. It is fragile as flip. I wouldn't use it for education personally, but I love it. It's like a glass dip pen. You can buy extra nibs for it, so it's replaceable. It's something that you only buy the shell once. The nibs you get 2 for $9, I think it was. So in that respect, it's fragile, but it's replaceable. It's one of my favourite styli, but it comes with a big caveat that the nib itself would not last you a term in education. But I like it. Last, on the outside edges, cheap eBay styli. eBay is your friend. If you type in iPad stylus, these are what you're going to get. Now, the one above is a soft rubber tip iPad stylus. Depending on where you buy it from, you can get 10 for £2, often with free shipping. They don't last, they'll last about a year each, but 10 for £2, fine. I never worry about giving a kid one of these styli. It doesn't matter to me. If they lose it, I've lost 20p, not an issue. I won't lose a great deal of upset about that. The one below it is hard to find. In eBay, I've only found it with one search, which is iPad fashion stylus. I've no idea why, it's not very fashionable at all. Again, it's £1 a stylus. It's odd, it's unusual. It's like drawing on your screen with a dental toothpick. It's just an unusual feel, but it's great. I like it a lot, I use it a lot. In the middle, we've got the daddy of all. The guys that I think changed styli for this much more recognised and understood and loved thing, Nomad. I love Nomad paintbrush. I carry them all over the place. I've got a little case and 2 of them that I carry about everywhere. The Nomad paintbrush is a capacitive paintbrush. You draw on the screen. You can get it in short hair or long hair iterations. You can get replaceable tips. They also do a wooden one, which is wood with a brush tip for younger kids to use as well. I did a thing with 3 4-year-olds. That was 3 and 4-year-olds, not 3 4-year-olds. 3 and 4-year-olds, they used the Nomad to play and they loved it because it was wood, it felt very friendly. Which app is the best app? Now, there are a lot of apps. There are a lot of apps. On this I've got about 70 different art apps of various descriptions. It would take me too long to say to you which art apps I love, but these are 5 that every educator should have on their system as far as I'm concerned. Now the problem is the middle one you can't get. It's called Brushes app, and this is version 2. They've recently upgraded it to Brushes app version 3 and they've completely broken it. Brushes app V3 you can download. It's free, it's not a patch on V2. And it's an absolute heartbreaking scenario. And if you wanted Brushes app V2, you should get in touch with the guys who make it, who are called Tatrix, and say, is there any chance I can buy this as Brushes Classic? I am repeatedly saying to them, please re-release V2. It's what I'm asked the most in terms of an app. Brushes app V2. If your school has downloaded it in the past, get that onto your system. It's lovely, and I'll show you why in a little while. To the right, Manga camera. I'll show you that later. Manga camera is a camera app. You hold it up, you take a photo, and within 5 seconds it is giving you a manga-esque picture of what you have photographed. It's like a series of very clever Photoshop-style filters. I take a photo. When I have done that, I've got a picture of a student looking like a manga superhero. You can imagine how well that goes down. To the right, Reflector. Reflector is an app that you download onto your system, either Mac or PC, and when I work on my iPad, I can mirror that to my computer. I can save what I'm doing as an animation, I can show it to other people. So it's like mirroring, but wirelessly to a computer. So when I save and record an animation, often Reflector is how I do it. Below that, we've got Portfolio to Go. I'll show you this in a second, but Portfolio to Go is a fabulous app, and it's free, and it's brilliant. Portfolio to Go, you download it, you link it to your Flickr stream, you give your title, your artwork or photos or work on Flickr gallery names, and it will turn it into a portfolio there and then. It is dumb and foolproof, and I love it. I've got about 4 different portfolio apps on my iPad. I always go back to Portfolio to Go. It does slightly less than some of the others. It is bulletproof and foolproof. It downloads the pictures to your iPad. It's got me out of jail so many times. And also, when my colleagues at college do schools work, that's on their app. Set up a Flickr account, update what they're doing at school, stick it into a protected Flickr account, so you can't, only one person's got access to it. Goes onto their iPad, they can go there and show anyone anything at any time. Brilliant. Lastly, up the top, ArtRage. ArtRage is an app that mimics real-world materials, charcoal, oil paint, watercolour, pen, and so on. It's fabulous, it's very powerful. Now the only problem is it pushes the iPad to its limit. You have to remember to save frequently for the reason that we should all save frequently on a computer, but we've kind of got less used to on an iPad. iPad I love to pieces. Again, iPad, ArtRage, if you set it up, will output the animation data, but you've got to tell it to in the first place. ArtRage, you can go up to quite high canvas sizes, but it will slow the system down a little bit. And ArtRage, you can get it on the desktop, and you can then get the iPad and desktop version to cross-collaborate, and it's fabulous. Now, this was one of the first pictures that I painted on the iPad. I did it with my finger instead of a stylus. It's the reason why I only use Styli. I almost gave myself crippling RSI doing this picture because I can draw quite happily on an iPhone with my finger, but I cannot do it on an iPad. It hurts like what's it. So I would suggest get a Styli. It will help you out. It will save your wrist. Very, very useful thing. Now I do this in, it's not my normal style, but I love Drew Struzan and I love Pixar. It was what I fancied drawing. Now the nice thing about brushes is you can zoom in up to 3200%. So I can do a picture with a lot of detail. and I thoroughly enjoyed doing this picture. Now the nice thing about this is, brushes will output your animation data. It looks like a pixel tool. If we look in the picture, there. If we look in the picture, it looks like a bitmap editing tool. It's not. It's a vector tool pretending to be a bitmap tool. It is so clever. I love brushes too, which is why Brushes Free breaks my heart so much. This is vector, it will output all of the data onto your computer. You can play it as an animation. Now the problem is, occasionally it will crash. I've used Brushes app since I first got my iPad 1. I've used it all the way through to now. I've drawn at least 2,000 pictures on an iPad. Only 4 crashed, but unfortunately this is one of them, so I couldn't get the animation data out. But this is the one that I've done the most work on. It took me about 24 hours to draw, probably top to tail, which is why I think it broke the app. So I can't show you the animation, but I will show you an animation now. So I show you an animation now, and this is Brushes app. All I've done is I've emailed the file from Brushes to my computer and told it to output the animation data.
It's a lot like this. I choose to lose my mind in certain ways, and if it seems like bliss, then this is all I want all night and day. I think I'm falling down, I think I'm falling down again, I think I'm falling down.
So that animation I did for Macworld last year, and it's a picture of Siri, how I think Siri looks, the girl inside the phone. I did another picture which is of us all dumbed down in our brains and our hands, so it didn't run that one for some reason, don't know why. I did that in Brushes. Brushes app is a speedy, quick way of getting a piece of artwork done. So that picture took about 3 hours to do. Within another 3 hours I had the animation up on YouTube. And I only know that because they asked me on the day that they needed the picture, so I know it was 6 hours top to tail. Now all I do is I take the animation data, whack it into the MacBook Pro, play it, capture that with screen recording software, and I've got the animation. And it's fairly simple like that. I've smoothed the process down. A lot of the processes that I use are on my blog, which I'll put up later, and if you want to catch me later, I've got my card with my blog on, and it will tell you how I do these things. I am frequently asked how I do the animations and get the animations onto YouTube. The silly thing is, it's so simple. It's dead easy. It's about a paragraph on my blog. Now this one I drew last year here at BETT. I was on the Promethean stand and I drew it on an interactive whiteboard. And they got me to live draw it. I had a crowd of people shouting things that they wanted in the picture. It was not an easy thing to do, and I was even more cross because somebody knocked my camera over at the beginning, so I got a really rubbish camera angle of the whole thing. But this is ArtRage on an interactive whiteboard. Again, screen art is not iPad. The two are not. The problem is if I say tablet to people, they'll all say iPad, or the majority will. And it's not the case. The Surface has a lot to give. The Samsung has a lot to give. Samsung Android devices have a lot to give. The Transformer is very good, and so on. iPad's not the only way. This is Portfolio to Go. This is the screen that you see when you load it up. Again, my Flickr account. I've got things segmented into areas, my portfolio, ArtRage, brushes, and so on. All you've got to do is as simple as telling it where your Flickr account is. So useful. You can even get an app which is related to Portfolio to Go, which you can then email to people, which becomes an app that they install on their iPhone and it loads it up as a portfolio that you've sent to somebody. Again, fabulous stuff. Reflector, it's about $10. $10 to capture my animation data, bargain. I didn't even think when I pressed the button. And again, this is my blog. If you type in Kercal, Kercal and blog. You get my blog. This has got, over Christmas, I was asked so many times between Christmas Day and January 31st, what app should I buy, what stylus should I buy on Twitter, that I just gave up. I wrote a blog and I kept sending the link out every single day. But there are a lot of apps out there. Now, like I say, on iPad, there's about 70 apps that I've got that I would have no issue using. On Surface, there's 5. On Android, there's about 10. There is a distinct lack of parity in the arms race of apps. I really hope Android and Surface start creating apps that I want to use, because I want to use them, but they ain't there yet. ArtRage, one of my favourite ones, is available on Surface Pro, but not yet on Surface RT, and so on. It's a seesaw, and I don't like it, because it's very unfairly weighted. Now, the add-ons. I frequently go around, I always go around with my iPhone, I frequently go around with my iPad, and I often go around with the things that are on the next slide. So, an external power pack. My iPhone battery never, ever does a full day for me. Ever. The most I've got is to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Because I'm always working on it, always using it. The battery just dies. Okay, awful. iPad, slightly better, it'll do a day. So I've got 3 different battery packs. The new Trent battery pack was on Amazon over Christmas on sale. I got it for 20 quid, absolute bargain, best 20 quid I ever spent. So a new Trent battery pack, really like it. The Griffin make an iPad pack, that's very good as well. You can even do car charger packs as well. And Mophie do brilliant packs. The good thing about Mophie packs are that they come pre-charged. So if you find yourself in London working with a client, as I have, and you find your iPad's running out of juice because it was in your bag turned on, which I didn't know it was, I ran off to the Apple store, bought a Mophie, and I was able to charge my device there and then, which was 50 quid that I only spent because I was stupid, but it did get me out of a lot of trouble. On the top right, a screen protector. In education, never use an iPad without a screen protector. Ever. The bottom right is from a company just across the way over there called Parotec. Now again, I did the World Skills Festival. We did 4 days here. We had 10,000 people using iPads, and we had 20 iPads, 10 on stand all the time, 10 on charge all the time. We just swapped them in, swapped them out. I would have burst into tears 6 or 7 times a day had I not had this case. A flight case for iPads protects them in transit. You put one plug into the wall, it charges all the iPads. But better than that, and this is the best thing about it, the Parotec case, you plug them all in, you've got one cable out, you stick it into your computer, you can push apps to all of your iPads at the same time, you can get data off of your iPads at the same time, and it saves so much time. Oh my goodness, it was so useful. And the World Skills Festival, I was shattered by the end of it. If I hadn't had that case, I would have been, terrible. Just to the left of that, we've got 2 clips, the Olloclip and the Astroclip. The Olloclip is tied up in a bag so I don't lose it. I should have untied it before. I didn't think about that one, did I? The Olloclip is £70. It is a plastic and glass add-on for your iPhone. It is a fisheye lens, a wide-angle lens, and a macro lens. You plug it onto your phone like that. Then you've got fisheye, telephoto, or if you undo this end, macro, and it's fabulous. 70 quid, really nice. Love to pieces. However, if you haven't got 70 quid, or you just want to test it out, below that, to the left, is this, and I love this. It's from a shop called Astromedia. And it's I can't remember where it is, it's in Europe, Germany I think it is. Astromedia, they send you flat-packed cardboard things that you build. So at Christmas I bought loads of these. This is a flat-packed iPhone macro lens. It's fabulous. You get it out of the case, you put it together, you glue it as carefully as you can, and then you've got a macro lens that you go in, you get close-ups with your camera. I'll show you some of the stuff on this. We're going to swap over from the iPad to the iPhone later. Right, so this is called Olloclip. This is called Astromedia clip. This is 70 quid, utterly professional, gives you beautiful shots. This is 5 quid, made a card, not as good, but it's a load of fun to do. And if you had a class of students there, and you say, this is what we're going to do today, you are going to make this up, make it up, and now we're going to go out and take photos. Love that. And this is great. And also, if you're doing macro photography where you're worried about your lens, this is a great one to do, because it's only a £5. So that's good as well. I've had 3 of them because I keep losing them. And then lastly, bottom left, the Apple TV. I love the Apple TV. It's great. You plug it in, HDMI to anything, then you can mirror one to the other and get an HDMI signal of what you are painting. So the Apple TV, I've drawn it a little bit evil, but I was just in that sort of mood by the time I was finishing my last piece of artwork last night. But the Apple TV is a great, I think it's 79 quid or something. It's a lovely add-on to an iPad and an iPhone. And if you're in a place where you want to get your artwork from here onto a big screen, if you've got an Apple TV, it will fit in your pocket. If you've got that and an HDMI cable, you can connect to anything with an HDMI cable and Wi-Fi. So here is my iPhone in action, and again, Manga camera. Load up another Manga camera. You know the other nice thing about it? Okay, it's free. It's just a simple free download. Most of these art apps are cheap. The most expensive ones are Adobe, because they are, and they're $6.99. $6.99 is not a lot of money to pay for an app, as far as I'm concerned. Bearing in mind I come from graphics, and they were often very expensive. You take this into a classroom, you've got half an hour to play, you say, should we do some Manga pictures? Yeah, cool, okay. If I need to take a classroom shot, this is how I would do it. So, Mickey Mouse. Dead quick. And there are loads of settings. Oh, hang on, wrong button. Don't tell me about shot. Wrong button. There's loads of settings that you can muck about with as well. So this is just silly fun. I don't know that I'd ever do a piece of artwork that I'd have published or anything like that. But if you've got a class for an hour and you're thinking, what do we do? This is lovely. It's an excellent diversion. But let's look at the Olloclip. So Olloclip. Camera. Oh, don't tell me about that. Right, so fisheye. And then I won't put on telephoto because it'll take a while to do. And then macro. Now this is it's a bit fiddly to put on with a screen protector. That's the only thing. You have to be careful. But so. Macro photography on an iPhone. If I took the macro off and tried to do that as close up, I could only get to there. And actually, to be honest, it's a bit unhappy with that. So that's the Olloclip. 70 quid or so, depends on where you get shipping from, but it's lovely.
45 on Amazon.
Oh, 45, bargain, they've taken it down. Oh, possibly because it's the iPhone 4S, the iPhone 5, yeah. And then this is the Astromedia clip, 5 quid, Astromedia shop. The difference is at the edge. There's more fringing on the edge of one to the other. But I made this, and it makes me feel, oh yeah, I made this, I like that, it makes me happy. Just card, Yoo-hoo, wash it together. I made it terribly because you can see down at the edge at the bottom left hand side you've got that black thing because I didn't put the lens in just exactly right. You have to be quite careful. But to get kids to make one of these, go out and take photos. Oh boy, when did we ever get those opportunities? When we were a kid. So this is back to, let me put up a picture on the thing. So actually over Chris, oh yeah, and I'll go back to the college. This is the college, photographed with Autostitch. Now Autostitch I love to pieces because I break it to pieces, and I'm a horrible, horrible person. I buy apps to see if I can break them. I like the fact that I can take photos of, in this case, standing underneath an electricity pylon and standing around. This is, you've got to see this. All I'm doing is standing there and going like that. The geometry broke the app, I came out with this, but this is an interesting picture, I like this. Not what I was after, I didn't know what I was going to get, but I like the fact that the app gave me something I wasn't expecting. This is Autostitch. Oh boy, did that pylon mess with the geometry, because it's weird geometry, it didn't know what to do. I've got all these beautiful lines, I've got a blue sky. This app cried when I used it under the pylon, but I like that picture. I tried it again, it gave me that. Tried it again, it gave me that. Oh no, no. Oh yeah, tried it again, it gave me that. You can use your Apple-made panorama app. You can stand there and go, and yeah, that's great, because then you get a panorama picture and it's really great, and you stitch a couple of pictures together and it's lovely. Or you can use an app that will give you something bonkers, and that's fab, isn't it? With Apple sometimes is Apple make things to only do one thing, and yeah, it does it well. And that's cool. But I like to see what you can do with the glory of mistakes. So here, let's go for, you got to see this. Of you guys. Now this won't break it, there's lots of geometry that it's happy with. Now I can keep it going for a long time if I want. What it does is it takes a picture per second and per angle. And now I'll go in closer. Boink. And then, it's not even that long to wait, it just happens. Now if I spent a long time doing a sweep, I'd get a longer panorama with more detail. And again, it's free. It's a fabulous app, I love you've got to see this. That and Autostitch are the ones that I use for nearly all of my photography now. I've got very few pictures of my family where they don't look like they're a Francis Bacon mashup of photos. So I've almost forgotten what they look like to an extent, but when they look normal, I would take panorama broken photos left, right and centre quite happily. So, with that in mind, it's 8 minutes to. Are there any questions?
Stand silent.
I do that, I have that effect on people.
For sale, the camera you put on?
Yes, that's 70 quid. Well, actually no, 45 quid on Amazon. Bargain.
I just looked it up. The little thing is £45 on Amazon, including postage, and it's kind of between 60 and 70. I've already ordered mine. I mean, how much?